Hi everybody, today I want to talk about how your service brake system works. Now your service brakes, which we all know what they are, they're the brakes that serves you every day, the brake pedal that's on the floor. When you put your foot on the brake, the air from the brake chamber pushes the push rod, which pushes the slack adjuster, which turns the S-cam, then turn the cam roller, then pushes the brake shoes and lining against the drum to then stop the vehicle. Now here's an illustration of that I'm talking about. And it goes just as I said. The air from this brake chamber pushes this push rod, which pushes this slack adjuster, which turns this S-cam, which is also called brake cam, but we call it S-cam because it's shaped like an S, which then turns the cam roller, which then pushes the brake shoes. It's also lining, brake shoes and lining up against the drum to stop the vehicle. You don't see the word lining here because this is an older picture of the same system blown up. But in the new book it says brake shoes and lining. So up against the drum to stop the vehicle. So when you take your foot off of the brake pedal, this return spring returns back to its normal position and prepares the vehicle for the next stop. Now, when you're stepping on the brake, this return spring stretches. It stretches out while this mechanism is going, while your foot is on the brake. So when your foot comes off the brake, it returns itself back in its normal position. However, that's how the system works. Push, push, turn, turn, push. Air from the brake chamber pushes the push rod, which pushes the slack adjuster, which then turns this S-cam, which then turns this cam roller, which then pushes the brake shoes and the brake lining up against this drum and stop the vehicle. When you take your foot off of the brake pedal, this return spring returns everything back in its original position. Push, push, turn, turn, push. Now, that again is how the system works. Now we need to know what part of this system you check for defects. Well, here's a hint. You check the first three, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, and the last two, return spring and the drum. Or should I say the drum and the return spring, if I want to keep it in order. So if I want to keep it in order, it would be the brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, drum, brake drum, and the return spring. These are the last two things we talked about, the drum and the return spring. So this is why I say the first three things you would check for defects and the last two. Okay? Now, your brake chamber, which has the same answer as the hub on your tire, should not be leaking, should be properly mounted and secure, and it should have no dents. Okay? Now, your push rod should not be bent and it should be properly mounted and secured. Your slack adjuster should not be bent either. It should be also properly mounted and secure, and it should have no more than a 1-inch free play of pull. So what that means is if you put on a rubber glove and pull your slack adjuster away from this push rod, you should not be able to pull it any more than 1 inch. If it pulls more than 1 inch, you need to adjust it with this adjusting nut. Just pull it out to 1 inch and then tighten it down to 1 inch with the adjusting nut. Okay? So, first three, brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster. Then you're going to check the last two. The drum, which should not have more than a 1/2 inch crack in the friction area. And what that means is your brake shoes and lining hits up against the drum each time you make a stop. It presses up against the drum, okay? So it eventually will crack. And although you can have a crack in the drum, it cannot exceed a 1/2 inch crack in the drum or in the friction area where the lining and the shoes are meeting up with the drum to stop the vehicle. That's the friction area. So the crack should not be more than a 1/2 inch. Okay? So you should not have more than a 1/2 inch in your drum. There should not be any broke, loosened, greasy, or missing parts in the bottom of this drum. That's the defect you're looking for your drum. Okay? Now, for your return spring, you're looking for it to be properly mounted and secure and not broken. It's just that simple. Properly mounted and secure and not broken. Okay? So those are all the 5 things you'll look for in as far as defects. The brake chamber push rod slack adjuster, the brake drum, and the return spring. Okay? That's it. And don't remember, sorry about that. Don't forget, the formula for knowing how this system works is push, push, turn, turn, push. The other aspect to this system is what part of this system would you check for defects. Don't forget, it's the first 3 and then the last 2 things we talked about. Okay? And in case you missed something, I think I got just read that writing. How and what and first 3, last 2. Okay? Okay. Hope you got it, guys. That's your push, push, turn, turn, push. Now, you'll see me doing this a lot, right? This is your brake chamber. So the air from the brake chamber pushes the push rod, which pushes the slack adjuster, which turns your S-cam, which turns your cam roller, which then pushes your brake shoes and lining against the drum to stop your vehicle. When you take your foot off of the brake pedal, the return spring returns itself back together and prepares you for the next stop. Got it? I hope so. Well, if you didn't, you can rewind me and get it then, okay? You guys have a great day. Bye.